are oil palm plantations in coastal areas which are not exactly at the sea. Of course, they are deep inland, and coastal areas is something which you take care of. And mangroves, for example, mangroves is something which is addressed by your stewardship council. So is there something which you have experienced, your council has experienced, which can be a point to be noted by RSPO when it comes to sustainability? Is there some commonality? I'm trying to find a common thread to rope in. So if you could suggest something on that. Not in a precise terms that this has to be A plus A, but like mangroves or maybe any other subject which you think.
Well, I guess I would say that the overlap would be that MSC, the way the MSC system works is we have three principles: the health of the stock of the fish, the impact of the fishery on the surrounding ecosystem, and the management system that's in place to guarantee long-term sustainability. If a country was, for example, removing its mangroves and thereby affecting the spawning grounds for a lot of its fisheries, it would probably be less likely to be able to maintain, to get certified under our scheme or to maintain certification if they needed those coastal habitats in order to produce fish. So I could see a potential in what you're saying where there might be an overlap in a negative way or in a positive way.
But those management systems in general can be something which can be an input for them as they develop their standards further, for the in the coastal habitats. So those management systems, you mean to say, are a positive input for them?
What I'm saying is that in order to be certified as sustainable within the MSC program, there has to be a solid management system run by government or a local entity that ensures the long-term sustainability, and there would be crossover in the coastal zone potentially.
Actually, yeah, thanks. Nick, back to you again. Like you said, you have just last year certified your first sugarcane. So this RSPO organization is now developing their PNC further, which they plan to conclude by April. And based on your experience, any inputs for them, and when it comes to their PNC, that look, our experience in the last few years was this, and this can benefit your upgradation of criteria.
Yes, I think that when it comes to looking at the fundamentals of the standard, the principles and criteria, absolutely remaining committed to an active process of updating is key to the integrity, the viability, and the relevance of a standard. We've only really had ours for a year and a half, and we're already announcing our first review. And we're doing that because we know that, as Brad says, you know, concepts of sustainability don't stand still. With increased knowledge and, to be honest, conversations like this, as we actually remain fundamentally committed to the best practice in sustainability, we want to reflect that in what we do. And if we learn new information, we want to embed that in what we do. And you know what? Here's a heresy. We might even be wrong. We might have even made mistakes or underestimations, and we're obliged to correct that. If we're serious about what we're doing, we should be developing that. We need to listen to what mills, what end users, what farmers, what civil society is expecting of our sustainability metric for it to be credible. And so I commend what you're doing, and it's a very thorough process, a very ambitious timescale as well, but I think you know that. But I just say keep at it, and keep the dialogue open, and actively welcome the possibility of new thinking, and for that matter, thinking from other disciplines. Because I know Brad's having that infinite challenge of how do I relate fisheries to what's going on terra firma, but I hear the same stuff. You know, just change the subject matter, and we're dealing with the same concepts of how do we normalize sustainable behavior. Because I'm absolutely certain that towards the end of our professional careers, there won't really be conferences like this, because sustainability will be so embedded, so natural, so everyday, so much part of how a business operates, it will just be included and updated as knowledge improves. So we're all in the same sort of transitional process now as we discover how to make sustainability relevant and for some monetizable and for others just institutionally, culturally acceptable. But I've never met anybody who said, my business is proudly unsustainable, and I never will.
Yeah, that's right. I think Daryl will agree with you when you say that this concept of sustainability, which is currently considered to be separate, unique, niche, by the next few years that won't be the case. It would be embedded, because he, I think, has experienced this, RSPO has experienced this. In the first few years of their inception, there was hardly any certification. People never bothered to do it. They thought, oh, this is something unique and a premium will have to be paid. I was seeing the data of the RSPO certification of palm oil and the acreage. Between 2004 and 2008, the numbers don't show much of an increase. But suddenly in the last 3 years, there has been a big jump in the oil palm plantations which have come forward and taken up this the RSPO certification. So the transition which you say, that we are in a transitory process, because and due to which this people think whether we should go for certification or not. And based on this experience, is there any target which you have set for sugarcane, that the percentage of area which you will be able to certify based on your interaction with the mills?
Yeah, I used to be a government regulator, so I'm sure you're aware that I've got years of experience of making numbers up. Targets are fantastic things. They're something a long way away that you roughly aim for, and if you hit it, you boast about it, and if you don't hit it, you ignore. We've set ourselves a challenge, and it is a challenge of 20% in 5 years. Now that's a big number, but the reason we think it's a credible number is looking at a serious analysis of where cane production is, who's buying it, what their buying power commits to, and also our ability, and I'll say in here, in partnership with certification bodies, and the word partnership is always a challenging one, but actually this can only work if certification bodies are involved in this process to actually enable those mills to become certified. And of course, this is again where we talk all the time, because every time we want a certification body to work, you want them to work, and you want them to work, and you want them to work, because we're all busily trying to get things certified. So there's a capacity issue here as well. But fundamentally, I think that we can get to 20% in that timescale because of the commitments of end users. And we've heard examples over the past day or so from companies who've talked about getting to 100% of actual commodity, and who've gone through the transitory stages of certificates and so forth, but actually want to see segregated product. In a way, it's a bit like being pregnant. You can't really be half pregnant. You're either going to be pregnant or you're not. You're either committing your company to it or not. And if you do commit and you do plan it in a rolled out way that you can be confident that all the participants in that process can make, you can see those 1s and 2s and 4% from named companies accumulating to a certain total in a remarkably short period of time. And the final point on this one is, why not? Why not just go for it and commit your company to becoming sustainable? The conversations I have are mostly based around the nervousness of, well, will the product exist? And for every conversation I have with an end user that says, will the product be available, I hear an anxious grower saying, but will the end users buy it? So being the matchmaker between the two is perhaps the fun part of the job, but it's knowing that both these parties kind of want to commit. I mean, we probably can get there.
But are you getting the response? Because so far it's, I think, 1 or 2% of the total?
Oh, yeah, in a year. That's not bad. I mean, so far we've got to 1.93%. We're still at the stage of counting to 2 decimal places. Now, in just over a year, that's not bad. That's 30 million tons of cane. Small number, but actually a very big number.
In absolute numbers is pretty high, you mean to say?
Yeah, well, in terms of penetration at this rate, I think it's fantastic. And that's, again, another reason why I'm
considering the beginning has been made last year.
Well, that's from nothing, you know. Yeah. So as an initial burst of activity, that's pretty good. not complacent about it, and I'm not boasting, I'm saying, but actually to demonstrate that actually the demand is there, the commitment on both sides of the equation, yes. It's interesting, today, it is today, I'm losing what continent I'm in, but today we have credit trading available for the first time to stimulate the further uptake of the concept of there's a value, there's an added value in sustainable commodities. Now, I think that's going to be a transitional state because I think that people are going to go for the volumes of certified product. But at the moment, this is all about holding people's hands on this journey to get them past these early stages of doubt. Because I'm absolutely certain that once you get past this early doubt stage, this becomes such a no-brainer to run your business as sustainably as possible. I mean, it is so self-evident that following these good practices can only be good for your business. And it's so encouraging when you see companies, the light bulb goes on. Obviously, the low-energy, non-fluorescent light bulb goes on, and those companies commit because they see the values all the way through their company. And that's why I'm confident this is just moving very rapidly.
Right. Agustin, coming back to you, in Brazil and Argentina, where the soybean production is expanding in a big way, the acreage is increasing. So there, do you see some major challenges in terms of deforestation, which have to be addressed by responsible soil, that you have to monitor and address? I'm asking this because in Malaysia and Indonesia, we saw millions of hectares of land was converted into palm, and a large part of it was through deforestation. In Brazil, is this the case, or is it a general expansion of wasteland?
Okay, forestation in Brazil has many different biomes. One is Amazons, and that is demonstrated that deforestation is slowing down because there was a previous program called Moratorium da Soja, and that program was reconfirmed like 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, and that's great for the Amazons. The problem is now in the Cerrado region, and it's the biggest savanna in Brazil. And there the deforestation still continue, and if we, the RTRS, are kind of changing that trend, so far we are too small, and the pregnancy period of a dog is 2 months, of humans is 9 months, and of an elephant is 2 years. Yeah. We still don't know what are we going to birth, if an elephant or
But is this something you have flagged? Because like Amazon forests, rainforests in Brazil, and these are the important areas, Alistair would be knowing about them, that these are the potential areas where maybe, arguably, I am not sure, you would be able to tell better, that maybe soybeans can be grown in this area, and this is an area which needs to be protected by FSC?